Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. In this video, I want to give you some updates on some airdrops, and then let's talk about the future of this airdrop metagame and exactly what you should expect. So let's get into it, but before we do, just remember nothing I say here is financial advice. Please do your own research. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Okay? Now, if you want, and I recommend you do this, make sure you follow me on my socials. Check me out on Twitter, the BrownJetYT. Also, you can check me out on DeBank. In DeBank, you can see what I'm doing in my portfolio. Hopefully, you can see some of the moves I'm making during this very volatile time. Now, one of the things that you probably noticed is just we've been trading very range bound here on Bitcoin, and that has not had a very positive effect on the entire cryptocurrency as a whole. It's just not very good. That being said, what we check out, if we go down to the crypto fear and greed index right here, you can actually see we've been doing terribly. Crypto fear and greed index has actually come down to 40. And the last time we were there outside of the last month is really back before we took off in what we had originally thought was the start of the bull run, right? Back in October 23. It has not been positive. The sentiment has been very negative, despite the fact that Bitcoin is actually sitting about 20 to 23% from all-time highs. So a couple things here. Number one, it's probably left some people down. Airdrops, for the most part, have fizzled out the last month or so, last 2 months. It has been pretty hard to get an airdrop that's been worth farming. And one thing I will say is I've recognized that. And prior to the bull market getting kicked off, I recognize that there was a need to reprice. That goes both ways. So if you are interested, and I had many people join in the last week as a result of our discount, this is my first video where I'm announcing this. Basically, I've discounted the price for our Patreon, the Web3 Secret Society. It's 50% off. You can lock in this price, and this price will be available to any new joiners. They can grandfather it in from whenever they join to whenever they choose to leave. Idea here being that the airdrops aren't paying out as much, and honestly, you'd rather save a lot of money to make sure that you're doing the right things with your portfolio. So if you want to join the 250 or so people who found value, check out the link below, and I'm sure people will tell you how much they've enjoyed it too. So the first update I have for you is on Orderly Network. Now, Orderly kind of rubbed people the wrong way a few months ago when they said, hey, you know what? I know we said we were going to end all the farming activities, but the market situation looks terrible and we're going to extend it by a couple months. Obviously, it didn't go over very well, but in 10 days, on August 26th, we're going to get our airdrop for the Order token. Now, if you've been checking Whales Market to see how the price is going, don't even bother. There's not very good data points, just 3 very stink bids. So I would not take that very seriously. I expect the Order token to be worth at least maybe 50 cents to $1. I'd be very surprised if it's lower than that. I will be very surprised given the fact that the number of fees people are paying on this perpetual event. Now, obviously when you have a token, most tokens are garbage, and that's why most of the tokens have been selling off, because at the end of the day, there's no real utility. Now, we want real utility. I don't think staking is actual utility. Honestly, that's just a way to reduce selling pressure. Now, you do get governance rights sort of with Order token, which is obviously a piece of staking. You can earn Valor. All of this has to do with knighthoods and everything, the round table, right? That's what their merit campaign is about, the road to path or something like that, or the order to path. Anyways, Valor measures a user's order staking position and gives you a corresponding share of the protocol treasury. That's actually pretty good. It's a revenue sharing measure. You can also boost your trading reward by staking orders. So now you have a reason to stake it. You also receive a higher share of market making rewards and other utilities coming soon. So if you want to see how you're doing, I put the links in the description below. You can go and check your order allocation out. Just keep in mind that your order allocation, the way it's listed on the website, airdrop.orderly.network, this does not include the road to the order, which is the merits program. And the reason for that is this is still live. We've got about 6 more days until the final epoch is wrapped up. So if you want to get in some final merits, you go ahead. I've got 384. I'm pretty much done with it at this point, but definitely check it out. And you'll have to add both of these. They'll likely update the checker by the end of the 22nd. Next update is on the bridge. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you already have this, or you probably saw this elsewhere. But basically, the bridge is, in my opinion, one of the best bridges out there. Way better than Orbiter Finance, way better than Owl2. I'd say it's comparable to Jumper in which I still find the bridge better because of their connection to the Sol ecosystem. I found it very challenging on Jumper. And they've also announced their The Bridge Foundation, their The Bridge token, and the checker. Now, just to sort of go over this because it has changed, they initially have a total supply of $10 billion, initial circulating supply of 1.8, 10% going to the community, 6% of which was part of the airdrop, and that is the airdrop for the points distribution. 2% sold through the LFG Vault, etc. And basically on the actual launch, which the snapshot was taken on July 23rd, you could basically, if you were in the top 10%, get 50% of the DBR token at launch and the rest after 6 months. Not really ideal if you look at their tokenomics. If you look at their tokenomics, pretty much all of the other teams, the strategic partners and everything, start vesting at the same time, so you expect a massive sell-off. Now, I definitely posted about this when it came out, and just so you know, 100% of my airdrop is going to the Web3 Secret Society. We're going to do a draw or something in there. This is just one of the many benefits you get for being part of the community. I went in and checked my allocation. I got 3,600 in the first, 3,600 in the second, a total of 7,200 tokens in total. And they came back, given the feedback, saying that they'll charge a 20% penalty if you claim all at the airdrop, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to be getting 5,600 or so tokens at the TGE. If you go to Pro Whales Market, we're sitting around a little less than 3 cents. So not the best for token prices, but this is not surprising just because this is the nature of the market, very low liquidity right now. Remember, July and August have typically not been very good for the crypto market. It's weird because we have things like the CPI print is good, the PPI print is good, the stock market is doing fantastic, gold's at an all-time high, and crypto is struggling. It's trading range bound and actually slightly negative. The next update I have for you is Sol Layer, which has now given you the option to delegate your S-Sol to one of 4 different companies. Let me see if they have them up here. But basically, you have things like Alt Layer where you can delegate to. If you're interested, go into Sol Layer, which is going to be the eigen layer of Solana, apparently. They've got funding from Binance now, which is pretty cool. And you can delegate to one of 4 of these. I haven't delegated yet until a little more information comes out. And the reason for that is I want to keep my liquidity, especially at a time like this. When markets are moving, you really want to have control of your tokens. Next update, this one's more brief, is on the Zion Foundation and the Zion token. So if you were involved in their testnet, you can check it out. They're going to have a utility token that powers their proof of stake network. And, they're going to drive new initiatives to grow the ecosystem. They're supporting devs, oversee community incentives, funding R&D, supporting open source public goods, and basically having a grants and delegation program. So more information coming soon for those who farmed that one. Also, if you're one of those who still has a foot in the Cosmos ecosystem, you may be eligible for the Cook airdrop coming out on September 1st. The snapshot was taken about 4 months ago, which feels like forever. But basically, if you had any of these, you qualified. If you had 100 osmosis staked, or Osmo, if you had a 10 Atom staked, or you had ST Atom or ST Osmo of 10 in your wallet, you have any of these NFTs or any of these other criteria. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I will give an update when that happens. And the next update I have is on Yaka Finance, which, as you know, they have an airdrop campaign that ends on the 19th of August. I am currently sitting for rank 35 for deposit points. As of yesterday, I have taken all of my funds out of Yaka Finance, not because I think the airdrop campaign is bad, but because when I had opened up this wallet a long time ago, it was not associated with one of my hardware devices. So I've extracted all of my SAY token out of this. I already have a good enough lead, good enough tokens, putting that in a more secure place. But when I did that, just like this individual, I had this error, which was whenever I tried to transact, trying to use Compass Wallet to withdraw liquidity, I got this error. So if you're either going to withdraw your funds soon or at the end of the campaign, which, obviously I expect most people to do because there are other ways to farm in the same network, you're going to see this. What you have to do, and this is the information I got from the moderators in the Yaka Finance Discord, is you actually have to import your seed phrase into MetaMask, and then you can use that and withdraw the liquidity, and then you can go back to functioning as normal. Very weird workaround, and obviously it didn't matter to me because I had this on a hot wallet, so I'm not going to put in my ledger seed phrase or whatever online or something like that. So just something to know. Another update is from Samurai Takedown, who is a genius when it comes to Hyperliquid. He's got Celestia and Dimension still staked, which I assume many of you do too. Apparently the sentiment is positive. That being said, I think he may have spoken too soon because the price of Celestia is coming back down, obviously, with the rest of the market. But there is a bullish unlock soon. So we're expecting, and most people are expecting, that as we approach the unlock phase, we will get people being paid to talk about how great it is. And when that happens, people will be buying Celestia. We're seeing this with Sui. And then we can sort of sell. So keep in mind that unlock is happening very soon on the 31st of October. Look at how much is being unlocked. 85% of the current circulating supply, which basically is like doubling it. On top of that, every day you have about 1 million TIA token also being unlocked with 365 days. So that's going to be an incredible amount of selling pressure because these guys want to take profits. Celestia started at like $2, right? Like, just take a look at where we came from. You literally would have round tripped if you stayed in the whole time. $2.20 all the way up to like $20, and all the way back down to $5.24. And the reason I'm still holding on to Celestia, I have some stake, and I think the same reason Samurai is thinking about, is Eclipse. Eclipse is powered by Celestia, and it's going to be the Solana virtual machine. So it's the airdrop I'm most excited for. And before they updated their website, they had Celestia and Eigenlayer as their two big fundamentals. So we'll see how that goes. Now, if you are interested in farming Eclipse, there was one really good way to sort of do this, and that was doing the NFT mint for validators. So this is something that got posted in our Patreon and our Discord by one of our members. So many of us went in, minted a couple of these. The prices of these have already more than doubled, but it was the first NFT in Eclipse, so definitely something worthwhile and very interesting. So that's pretty good. And finally, one last thing I wanted to end the sort of call with is is there going to be an airdrop season again? Very apt that Jumper posted this earlier today. And I thought this is a very good post by Cape. And I'm going to sort of talk a bit about this. So basically, he's saying that he expects airdrops to dominate again at the end of the fiscal year, or actually the fiscal just end of the year. Every trend, meme coins, alts, NFTs will pick up steam, leaving those who are currently sidelined, who are not farming, not stacking, kicking themselves. And it's not a hunch. He's seen it happen many times as clockwork. And basically, if you've been there for a long enough time, you're not going to be stupid enough to fade this. And I completely agree. One of the things I always talk about in this space is this is an attention economy. Things rotate a ton of times. And the biggest mistake you can make is dump whatever you have that's already sort of retraced to chase the new shining object. Because then every time you're going to dump things at the lows to jump into something at the highs. And even more so than this, think about what the sentiment of crypto is. Crypto, we're sitting there about 25% Bitcoin from all-time highs, 65% from the altcoin highs, and maybe like 35% from the Ethereum highs. And everyone is super depressed, super upset. Can you imagine back in 2022, 2023, if you told yourself then that, hey, Bitcoin is going to go to $60,000, you're going to be unhappy. We're sitting there with Bitcoin at 18,000. How will people be upset? But that's just the reality of it. And not just that, what's happened is a lot of protocols have been taking advantage of a lot of retail. At least now people know for sure that these are primarily liquidity driven, which is something I've been telling you guys from day one. Don't be focusing on all this garbage. I'm starting to see a lot of airdrop influencers starting to be a little more selective, which if you guys have been here for a long time, you know that's been something I have been preaching since the start. Be very selective, do high value activities, don't waste your time. Your goal here is not to sit here and burn yourselves out. Unfortunately, many people just sat there doing testnet after testnet, doing all these like other activities on Zleak, Galaxy, and whatever. And the reality is these things are, there's a time and place for these. And what's happened recently? Well, people got burnt out. They quit. They said, forget it. They've left crypto. They're enjoying their summer. Now when things are not being prioritized is your best opportunity. So you can definitely differentiate yourself by either setting yourselves up by having the right tokens, picking up the right NFTs, making sure you're farming the right protocols. In my case, it's definitely around sort of like focusing on like Linea, Scroll, Chroma, Hyperliquid, a few others I'm not going to mention here, but these are the airdrops that you really want to focus on. And when things pop up, there's going to be a lot less competition for them. So the money you get out of it is going to be so much bigger. There's going to be a turning point. Once again, there's going to be lucrative airdrops that will change the game. People only got into airdrops because they saw people got like $20,000 from Judo. You got $10,000 from other protocols. And you're like, you know what? You want a piece of it. So we went from nothing to everything back to like maybe 25%, I'd say, of the airdrop farmers still are out there. I can see that from the views on the videos across the board, not just my own. And then what we're going to see is it's going to return to form. And a lot of people are going to be kicking themselves for not being part of it. So it still hasn't changed. Don't do useless stuff, but definitely focus on high value activities. Stick it out, because this is one of the hardest ways to make an easy living. It's a very like famous poker quote from Joel Brugson, right? We have to endure a ton of things. You're gonna have to endure a bunch of drawdowns. Even as I speak, Bitcoin is still dropping 57,800, and we could see it drop to 56. We could see it drop to 52, even further, right? You don't know. But you know what? August and July have typically been red months for the crypto industry. It looks like nothing else will change. I suspect that we're going to take off sometime in the later part of the year, likely November after the election, or December. Now's the time to just be patient, stack your bag. Do not go out there and trade. We're going to talk about a lot of that in the next video. So if you have any questions, guys, I'm happy to answer them in our AMA, which is following up right after this. As you know, hit all the buttons. Make sure you support the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.